when Mexico joined NAFTA. The country wanted to modernize, but just what would come after? Insurgent rebels took the South, the presidential candidate was killed. Investors pulled their money out and a crisis ensued. And the expats, the Yanks with their backpacks, yeah, it was quite a thrill. Opportunity to make a buck or two. Perhaps it could help out, they thought they could, no doubt. Oh man, wasn't it cool? And I was down there too, fresh out of school. Yeah.
Esta es la historia de un pelado que se fue a vivir al otro lado.
Alan here. The big amusement industries of the world really represent a way of silencing everybody. I feel my job as an ethnomusicologist is to give voice to all of the submerged cultures, to try to restore the balance that used to exist in communications, what I call cultural equity. Up until now, I've limited my anthropological studies in the United States to more impoverished areas. However, in the true sense of the word, folk music is produced almost everywhere, as people try to find their place in the world. My travels so far have skipped suburbia. However, I recently came upon the case of Joshua Cohen, a young musician from Poughkeepsie, New York.
One of the hardest things to come to grips with when I first came down here in Mexico was the amount of time I'd be here. I knew it would be more than a year. In fact, when I had an interview with the vice president of the American Chamber of Commerce where I work, he told me, now it's this 3-year commitment, are you aware about this? And I'm like, yeah, I'm aware of this. He's like, because if you leave before that, we'll make sure you never work in Mexico again.
Hey, that's not like me. You're coming over my house, you look like me.
When I first approached Joshua Cohen as a subject matter, there didn't appear to be anything of cultural relevance to study. I mean, the guy seemed to be doing just fine. Even as the Mexican economy languished in the years following the devaluation, Josh's career at the American Chamber of Commerce was reaching new heights. He conducted original research on the Mexican economy, authored 3 books per year, and provided consultative services to Amcham member companies. His articles appeared regularly in local media, both in English and in Spanish. On top of all that, Josh took a department that had been losing money for years and turned it into a profit center for the company. He began conducting monthly business climate surveys of the CEOs of the largest companies operating in Mexico, and would then brief the Amcham board of directors on the results. Josh's profile was indeed expanding.
That's me. It's me. It's me. It's me.
He was brought in to brief to a variety of local and foreign dignitaries. This included Guillermo Ortiz, Mexico's Secretary of the Treasury, to whom Josh presented the results of his original research on corporate investment plans in the country. He also briefed Herminio Blanco, the Secretary of Commerce, who was likewise keen on gathering information on the business climate in what was then an atmosphere of instability and doubt. Additionally, Josh received a regular stream of trade delegations from a variety of U.S. states and cities that sought out information on the economic conditions in the country, as well as Josh's perspective for how the crisis might play out. John Bruton, the executive vice president of the Amcham, was grooming Josh to one day take over the Chamber of Commerce. What was not to like?
A lot of my friends down here, they're looking for the big opportunity, looking to get ahead, you know, find that career path and go with it. And it's kind of weird because I have a good job and all. I'm a director of a department, and probably want to keep up on the executive track I could go somewhere with. But it's not really appealing to me. Like I'm saying, I know some people who would kill for my job, but hell, man, you wouldn't have to kill me for it. I'll give it to you.
Interesting. Now, how did we end up here? It appears that Josh may be having an identity crisis. Now, this is something I can sink my teeth into. I think we need to go back to his childhood to understand what is going on. There may be some delusions of grandeur behind his feelings. At the dawn of a new decade, Josh was born in Poughkeepsie, New York, the capital of Dutchess County, quite possibly the most important county in the history of the United States. Don McLean sang at Josh's circumcision, foreshadowing the possible greatness that lie ahead. Though from humble origins, the fact that his great-granduncle was the impressionist painter Haïm Soutine would one day make Josh a superstar in Belarus. His parents, along with folk singer Pete Seeger, built the Hudson River sloop Clearwater, the flagship of their newly founded environmental organization. At 3 months of age, Josh crewed on the Clearwater as it sailed to Washington, D.C. for the first Earth Day. When not lobbying Congress, Josh attended a variety of fundraisers and folk festivals. By the age of 3, our young hero was front-page news in the Poughkeepsie Journal. His marshmallow-eating skills were unparalleled in Dutchess County. He had a happy childhood. Sure, the 1970s was an era of economic, political, and cultural upheaval, but it was also a period of increasing egalitarianism and inclusiveness. And Josh took it all in with the loving support of his family. He lived in a log cabin built by his parents in historic Fishkill, New York. Of course, he helped out with the construction whenever he could. When not doing his farm chores, such as picking apples, shoveling horse manure, and digging up septic tanks, the young lad enjoyed burning little green army men with gasoline during his minimally supervised childhood. Indeed, such freedom was part of the zeitgeist of the 1970s. Josh went to the progressive Randolph School, where he developed a true love of learning. It is also where teachers diagnosed a condition that would affect Josh throughout life. No matter what happened, he seemed to always be happy. They were convinced that he must be hiding something. Though the Wappingers Central School District is perhaps the finest public school system in the country, the transition from Randolph was rough. However, our hero learned to play the game and make the most of his experience. It was the modern era, and computers were coming to the home for the first time. To stay ahead of the curve, Josh took a couple of courses on the basic programming language at Dutchess Community College. At just 9 years of age, he felt he was the big man on campus. As the 1980s arrived, playing music became the outlet that Josh needed to self-actualize. He formed his first rock band, Dead Fish, with his childhood friend Gabe Gilligan, who he had known since the age of 3, back in his Randolph school days. In junior high school, his social world revolved around writing songs and jamming with his friends. He became increasingly obsessed with music and playing guitar. During the summers, Josh participated in the Regional High School of Excellence program with high school students from all over Dutchess County. While there, he not only solidified his identity as a county resident, but of course found like-minded folks to form a band with. Living in an IBM town during the heydays of Big Blue's dominance in mainframe computers meant he procured regular summer employment at the East Fishkill semiconductor plant. One year, his father pulled some strings to get him placed at the IBM factory in Valencia, Spain. There he lived with the Puente León family. He refined his Spanish language skills and traveled the country, going to a variety of live rock concerts with his host brother, Fernando. Josh's world was finally expanding beyond Dutchess County. At John Jay High School in East Fishkill, Josh joined the jazz band and submerged himself into music theory. He was soon recruited to be the lead guitarist for the Vagodas, a supergroup ensemble of the top musicians at the school.
Good evening and welcome to the John Jay High School Auditorium. I must say it does feel good to be back. I am Mike Cohen from WPDH, and I would like to bring you the Fish Out of Water Tour featuring the one, the only, the Vagodas!
The Vagodas were formed with the sole intent of putting on a show in the school auditorium. No other rock band had performed live at John Jay since Mountain had in the 1970s. Many of the students present had never seen a live rock concert, and the enthusiasm was palpable. And the metalheads finally got a chance to headbang in public. The Vagodas had a truly all-star lineup. Bill Cummings and Tim Classy on lead vocals. Ray DePietro on rhythm guitar and Josh on lead. Matt Frischman on bass and Larry Lopez on drums. Joe Shepard played harmonica and Mike Colucci saxophone. Nick Piteras sang falsetto vocals. The legendary Tommy Drew played saxophone, and everybody's friend Danny White was also on sax. Ravi Anantha, substitute bass, and Rob Zaradnik on maracas. Good Lord, that lineup beats the Tower of Power. The Vagodas' renown spread, and they were invited to perform at several school functions. Though just a cover band, the Vagodas' delusions of grandeur were without bounds. The guys felt that they were on a mission to bring the various social groups on campus together. Years later, the legend of the Vagodas would spread far and wide throughout Dutchess County. For Josh, Brown University represented a mecca of scholarly and artistic exploration. During his first year, he befriended Mike Corwin and Colin Gagan. It truly expanded his mind. Gagan and Cohen composed A Musical Journey Through Time. It would be the first of many performance art pieces our hero would put on at Brown. The three friends joined forces with Danny Horn, Joshua Brown, and Laura Gordon to produce a live call-in variety TV show called Four Guys and Videotape. They discussed a variety of completely inane issues and improvised songs related to the show's weekly theme. Just prior to going on the air, the guys would run over to The Gate, a late-night pizza snack bar, and tune the television into BTV to guarantee themselves an audience. Brown Cable TV had been established just 3 years prior by Doug Lyman and Dave Bartis, who would later go on to become renowned movie directors and producers. Though the television station was originally subject to rigorous oversight, by the time Josh joined BTV, it was absolute chaos. With no bounds, he took his artistic expression in new, goofy directions. He felt his creative juices were really flowing. However, our hero achieved true creative nirvana with his band, the Boston Sushi Fiesta. The music scene at Brown University in the early 1990s was insanely vibrant. There were countless acts, including the Young Hegelians, Slow Children, Will Oldham, Liz Mitchell and Lisa Loeb, Blowbot, and God. There were so many groups that the artists had to form the Coalition of Bands at Brown to soundproof enough practice space to meet the demand. The Boston Sushi Fiesta was, by all estimates, the greatest performance art funk rock band of the early 1990s. Mike Corwin was the lead vocalist and played an absolutely mean slap bass. Josh played guitar and Colin Gagan played keyboards and trombone. Andy Pete Best Abramowitz was the band's original drummer, but he would later leave to focus on marching band. At that point, Jason Toft, an absolute monster on the skins, became the rhythm powerhouse behind the Sushi Fiesta. Laura Gordon played trumpet and provided the group with Japanese translation services. Among its performances, the Boston Sushi Fiesta put on a rock opera about Christopher Columbus and unveiled the ancient Scroll of Rock to a bewildered audience who had no idea that rock and roll had such mystical origins. Gagin would leave the band, but the Sushi Fiesta would continue to break creative ground. They drank toxic waste on Earth Day and put on a multimedia show about Dutchess County, New York, taking Josh's passions full circle. For their World of Nutrition gig, they decorated the stage with huge fruits and vegetables and sang songs about food. The group hit an emotional crescendo when Jason McKinney peddled their homemade cookies for 5 cents each, completely selling out before their song, "We're Selling Cookies," was over. The Boston Sushi Fiesta opened for the nationally renowned band Fishbone when they came to campus. The Sushi Fiesta was peering over the wall into the world of professional musicians, and they liked what they saw. At the top of its game, the band made a pilgrimage to Fishkill and gigged with local trumpeter Andy Wisdow. They then went on to record a 5-song EP in Rockland County on Elvis's birthday. Fellow student Joshua Brown made an innovative music video of the group's song, International Agriculture. Sadly, as Josh's creative life was reaching its apex, his time at Brown was coming to an end. Outside of music, our hero had been studying political science and Russian. The Soviet Union had recently fallen, and he watched as Russian youth picked up their guitars and jammed. Appreciating the moment, he applied for a grant. He proposed traveling throughout Russia to record the emerging music. It seems that Josh hoped to follow in my footsteps. However, he would capture the culture that was brewing in the new post-Cold War world. Josh was a finalist, but did not prevail. He then had to scramble to figure out his future plans. Having studied for a semester in Mexico, Josh looked south and found the Amcham. He packed a duffel bag and headed down. Okay, I get it. Josh's identity crisis makes all the sense in the world. Once you've been the lead guitarist for the Boston Sushi Fiesta, briefing the Mexican Secretary of the Treasury just doesn't seem so exciting. It's sad to admit, but Josh's fall from grace has indeed been severe.
Talking about the whole slacking thing. There's my friend Mike Corwin in Austin. I mean, he's not a lazy guy. He's smart and he does a lot of work. But, you know, taking it easy, playing in a rock band, working part-time. I mean, that appeals to me. I mean, especially when I'm going through a midlife crisis here at the age of 24. Anyway, I was talking to my friend Mikey there. We were hanging out in some park in downtown Austin. And I told him, I said, look, you know, that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like, you know, I'm down here. And it's a good experience and all, but maybe, am I missing out on something? Am I going to be able to go home and still rent a house with 5 guys and just wake up real late and eat cold pizza? He said, well, Josh, you know, you could do that, but, you know, after you do it a couple years, you realize, you know, and then what? And no, he's got a point. I mean, it's probably cool lifestyle and all, but you can't get all down about it. But at the same time, I mean, the whole idea of taking it easy and not getting up every day to put on a time, and that's kind of appealing, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Yeah!